The RC Hoonicorn is here, and it's officially licensed, all-wheel drive, and looks fantastic. So today, let's check it out, see how fast it goes, and then do some bashing with the all-new Hoonicorn. Now you probably already know the Hoonicorn is one of the baddest and fastest 1965 Ford Mustangs in the world, custom created for Ken Block of Hoonigan Racing. Now what's interesting is that there have been two different Hoonicorn versions, with the first outputting a modest 845 horsepower and starred in Gymkhana 7, characterized by the gold wheels and the blower. Most recently, the second version of the Hoonicorn was created, known as the Hoonicorn V2. And it's the V1 car, but with even more modifications, outputting a staggering 1,400 horsepower and over 1,200 feet-pounds of torque. This is the car that starred in Gymkhana Pikes Peak, and it had a part in Gymkhana 10, characterized by the white wheels and a custom twin-turbo setup. This is also the car you can see in the show Hoonicorn vs. the World 2, where it challenges different cars in a drag race, including the Tesla Model S Plaid. It's definitely one impressive car that finally we have in proper RC form, and it's officially licensed. Now the RC Hoonicorn is 1/10 scale, electric on-road, and it's ready to run right out of the box, with the chassis and electronics configured and the Hoonicorn body painted in detail. The only requirements to get up and running are 4 AA batteries for the transmitter, and the version that we have requires a battery pack for the car. There is a second version of the Hoonicorn that includes a battery and a charger, so those aren't required. Now there's no other differences between the two versions, and both include the scale replica Hoonicorn body that comes looking awesome right out of the box. The body is your typical RC Lexan shell that's been pre-painted with hard plastic, molded accessories attached for extra details. Now starting up front in the car, the Hoonicorn features a hard plastic front grille with a little Ford Mustang logo in there. We have decals over our headlights, but behind those decals, those headlights are clear, and there is a single 5mm LED bucket behind each headlight. Below the headlights, the lip, this grille, this bumper area, it's all a single piece molded into the body. Now there's some extra Hoonicorn decals, and there's a big flat black decal going up the hood where our twin turbo setup is, and this custom intake. These are a multi-piece hard plastic turbo setup that attach from the inside. If you wanted to, you could probably take some plastic specific paint and repaint them the color of your choice. Now moving up the front hood area, over the front window is a decal providing tint so you can't see inside with Hoonigan branding, and then on the sides and in the center of that windshield is a roll bar. The rest of the windows going around the car feature the same decals, giving them that tinted blacked out look with some other indicators of the roll bar being inside. Now on the very top is our 00 decal, and there's more on each side of the car, along with the RTR radiator decal, more Hoonigan and American Racing custom wheel decals. Now on the sides for those front tires, there are really big, wide wheel wells that fully cover over the wheel, arching it with the rear arch cut out. This again is a single piece molded into the body. Now moving on back behind the doors is a vent. We have it on the left and right side, and this is a separate piece that's been attached with a hard plastic insert to keep it firm. More hard plastic is used below for the running boards, and that's attached from the inside with extra bracing to keep it stiff. Now for the rear tires, same thing with those wheel wells. They're really big, wide arches going all the way over with the rear end cut out. Behind that is the Kill All Tires decal, and it's present on both sides, with a huge diffuser running in the back down low. This is a separate piece attached to the main Lexan piece attached from the inside. The taillights in the back are hard plastic with decals present. There's more decals back here used, along with more Hoonigan branding, and then the RTR center logo. That's a hard plastic piece. Overall, it's a really nice body that has a lot of lines going through it to give it that aggressive look, accurate to the real Hoonicorn. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering about putting this body on other cars, and it will fit. If you have a 10 scale touring car or a drift car, it should fit on your car okay. We plopped this on our RMX 2.0 drift car, And as long as we remove the rear diffuser, we could get the body on there. Now to get the diffuser off, you have to slice the decal on each side, remove the screw that's there on each side, and then pull off the brace that's on the rear bumper. And those screws in that brace are attached to the rear taillights and then the center plastic logo piece on the back. But once you take that off, then there's room, fitment, to go on that RMX 2.0. Now included in the car is this decal sheet, and it has a few other detailed decals like the red brake calipers that you can put on the car because there are hard plastic discs and calipers behind the wheel. Now with a 7mm nut wrench, the wheel comes right off, and the rubber is treaded and they're glued to these white wheels with foam inserts inside and vent holes on the inside of the wheel. These wheels feature a 12mm hex, so any 10-scale touring car or drift style wheel with a 12mm hex should fit right on here. Swapping them out is super easy. Now let's check out the rest of this Hoonicorn chassis, formerly called the Apex 2 from Team Associated. Now in summary, it's a 1/10 scale all-wheel drive on-road electric platform with an independent suspension and front and rear gear differentials. The front and rear gearbox clips are pretty much exactly the same, using the same parts, minus the bumper attached in the top brace. With the suspension, the upper and lower arms, the hubs, the steering blocks, they're all the same parts, shared on each of the corners. So getting spare parts to help fix any broken ones you may have is a whole lot easier when you don't need to keep so many on hand. Now other features include the plastic oil-filled shocks with threaded collars. There's a G10 fiberglass chassis, a nice big foam bumper, and easy-to-use Velcro straps for the battery box, but it only fits shorty-style LiPo batteries. Another really important feature on the Hoonicorn is the metal drivetrain used throughout, with a metal center drive shaft and metal dog bones used on each corner. All of the outdrives are also metal to last as long as possible, with the exception of the two outdrives used in the center. It's the same drivetrain and chassis used with the Hoona truck, which never gave us any problems during testing on 2 or 3S LiPo. Speaking of the Hoona truck, here it is next to the brand new Hoonicorn. And besides how awesome they look together, they're just about the exact same size. But the Hoona truck may be a little longer thanks to that wing. Now besides these bodies, the only other differences are the height of the body mounts for those bodies and then the different styled wheels that they use. Other than that, you pop off the bodies and see that these two vehicles are pretty much identical for their chassis and power specs, which include the Reedy SC500X speed controller with a T-style battery connector, which is 2S and 3S compatible. There's also a Reedy 15-turn modified motor in a 550 can size, and it's 3-pull. The ESC and motor are brushed. For the steering servo, it's the Reedy 1523 MG metal gear servo. Now, how fast is the Hoonicorn? Well, we tested it. First, with the fresh 2S LiPo battery installed and our GPS speed meter stuck to the car. After a few passes back and forth, we realized a top speed of 18 miles an hour on that 2-cell LiPo. Next, we removed that 2-cell and replaced it with a more powerful 3-cell and tried again. This time, the extra battery power voltage provided us with a top speed of 29 miles an hour. One thing we noticed driving around here after our speed runs was that the body sometimes dragged on the ground, and it turned out that the rear ride height was just a little low, which is pretty easy to raise by tightening the rear spring collars, and that's just what we did. Driving the Hoonicorn is a blast though, and the all-wheel drive chassis is quick and responsive to react. Speed and torque is really good on that 3S battery over the 2S, and the 3S will probably be the battery of choice for most neighborhood or parking lot bashing. For power sliding and getting sideways, the Hoonicorn definitely can do it, but it's best to remove the rubber tires and install proper hard plastic drift tires and then send it. You can power slide around on the rubber tires, but they'll go bald pretty quickly. With big open spaces, the car slides around really good and you don't have to worry about it. With smaller, more confined spaces like our little drift track, we found that the less powerful 2-cell battery makes the car a lot easier to drive and it's way more manageable, whereas the 3S battery was just too much of a handful. Now we actually stripped out the servo driving here on the track shortly after turning up our steering dual rates on the transmitter without checking it, because it is possible to make the servo arm travel further than the mechanical steering system in the car,
To the right,
which
huh?
causes issues. And it did. So I chalk it up to our fault, but that's what happened. Replacing the servo was pretty easy in the car, and we installed the brand new EcoPower WP110S speed servo, which is inexpensive, yet pretty dang powerful. Overall, the Hoonicorn is an awesome looking car, and it's a great reproduction to the real Hoonicorn V2. And if you're a fan of Hoonigan racing, it's a no-brainer to have, especially if you already have the Hoona truck or you want to get them both to complete the collection. They're quite the special pair. Guys, go check out the RC Hoonicorn by following our links down below, and if you want more RC, check out these videos.